In the opulent glow of New York's finest restaurant, where crystal chandeliers cast diamonds of light across linen tablecloths and the air hummed with the clink of fine china, Elias Thorne sat alone at his corner table. He was a man who had built an empire from nothing, or so he liked to boast, a tech mogul whose fortune towered over the skyline like the skyscrapers he owned. But tonight, his sharp eyes scanned the room with disdain, his laughter a bark that cut through the murmur of polite conversation. "Serve me in English, darling," he sneered at the young waitress approaching with a menu, "and I'll tip you $1,000. Bet you can't even manage that without stumbling." The patrons nearby shifted uncomfortably, but Elias leaned back, arms crossed, his Rolex glinting like a challenge. Little did he know, this was no ordinary waitress, this was Maria Alvarez, a woman whose story was woven from threads of resilience and hidden brilliance, and she was about to turn his world upside down. Maria paused, her tray balanced effortlessly on one hand, her dark eyes meeting his without flinching. She was in her late 20s, with a warm olive complexion and hair tied back in a simple ponytail that belied the storm of experiences beneath. Born in a small village in Mexico, she had crossed borders not just geographically but linguistically, culturally, and emotionally. Her journey to America had been one of sacrifice, for her family back home, for the dream of a better life. She worked 3 jobs, waitress by night, tutor by day, and volunteer at a community center in between. But Elias saw none of that. To him, she was just another face in the service industry, a prop in his game of superiority. "English it is, sir," she replied calmly, her accent faint but flawless, like a melody smoothed by years of practice. She placed the menu before him with a grace that spoke of quiet strength. Elias chuckled, waving a hand dismissively. "Oh, please. That's basic. Let's make it interesting. Speak to me in French about the specials, and I'll double it." His voice dripped with mockery, drawing a few uneasy glances from other diners. Unfazed, Maria straightened her apron and switched seamlessly. "Bien sûr, monsieur. Nos spécialités ce soir incluent le filet mignon avec une sauce au vin rouge, accompagné de légumes de saison grillés. Au peut être prêt vous le saumon poêlé avec une réduction de citron et d'herbes fraîches." Her French rolled off her tongue like poetry from the streets of Paris, each syllable precise and elegant. Elias's smirk faltered for a split second, but he recovered quickly, leaning forward with a predatory gleam. "Not bad, not bad. But anyone can memorize a script. Try German, describe the wine list. Triple the bet." The restaurant seemed to hold its breath, the hum of conversation dipping as curious eyes turned their way. Maria nodded, her expression unchanging, though inside, a flicker of amusement stirred. She had learned German during her time volunteering with refugees in Berlin, a chapter of her life born from a desire to bridge divides. "Gern, Herr. Unser Weinauswahl umfasst einen robusten Cabernet Sauvignon aus Kalifornien, mit Noten von Brombeer und Eich, oder einen leichten Pinot Grigio aus Italien, or frischend mit Zitrusaromen." Elias's face tightened, his laughter now forced. "Impressive parlor trick. Italian next, tell me about dessert." "Quadruple. Without missing a beat, certamente, signore. I nostri dessert includono una torta al cioccolato fondant con gelato alla vaniglia, o una panna cotta con frutti di bosco freschi." The words flowed like a Tuscan breeze, rich and inviting. By now, a small crowd had gathered subtly, waitstaff pausing in their duties, patrons craning necks. Elias, feeling the heat of unexpected scrutiny, pushed further, his voice rising. "All right, smart one. Mandarin. Explain the history of this restaurant. Make it 5,000 if you pull it off." This was his Hail Mary, a language he assumed was beyond her reach, picked from his business dealings in Asia. But Maria's eyes sparkled with a quiet fire. Mandarin had come to her through a friendship with a Chinese immigrant family she had helped resettle in Queens, late nights studying together, sharing stories of loss and hope. "Dang ran ke yi, xian sheng. Jia jia conting sheng li yu 1920 nian dai. Yi wei yi da li yi min chuang li, ji zai rong ao zhou yu ya yu mei guo chuang shen. Duo nian lai, ta yi sheng wei niu yu jing ying de ju ji de, jian zheng le wu shu li shi shi ke." Her Mandarin was fluid, tonal perfection that silenced the room. Elias stared, his mouth agape, the color draining from his face. The bet had been a joke, a way to assert his dominance, but here was a woman dismantling it with effortless mastery. How many languages do you speak? He stammered, the arrogance cracking like thin ice. Maria smiled gently, not in triumph, but in kindness. 5 fluently, sir. English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, and Mandarin is a 6th I'm still perfecting. But languages are more than words, they're doors to people's hearts. She could have stopped there, left him humbled and moved on. But something in his eyes, a flicker of loneliness beneath the bluster, stirred her compassion. Elias Thorne wasn't just a millionaire, he was a man haunted by his own isolation. Orphaned young, he had clawed his way to the top, building walls of wealth to shield a heart scarred by abandonment. Success had come at the cost of connection. His days were filled with boardrooms, not friendships, and his nights with echoes in empty mansions. As Maria stood there, she saw not the bully, but the boy who had learned to lash out before being hurt. "Would you like to order now?" she asked softly, in English once more, offering him an out. But Elias shook his head, his voice low. "No. Tell me, why? Why learn all that while waiting tables?" It was the first genuine question he had asked anyone in years, stripped of sarcasm. Maria glanced around, ensuring no one needed her, then pulled up a chair, boldly, uninvited, but with a warmth that disarmed him. "Because life taught me that understanding others changes everything," she began. Her story unfolded like a tapestry, fleeing poverty in Mexico at 18, crossing the border with nothing but dreams and a backpack of books. In America, she faced rejection, jobs denied, accents mocked, but she turned pain into power. She learned French from a Haitian neighbor who shared Creole recipes and tales of revolution. German from aiding Syrian refugees, listening to their horrors and hopes. Italian from an elderly couple in Little Italy who treated her like family. Mandarin from tutoring children in Chinatown, where she discovered the joy of bridging worlds. And through it all, she sent money home to her siblings, funded scholarships for immigrant kids, and volunteered at shelters, teaching languages as tools for empowerment. "It's not about showing off," she said, her voice steady.